Ladies and gentlemen, fans and friends, we are back once again. I am the custodian of charisma, the ophthalmologist of optimism. She is the sultan of sarcasm and the sorceress of sass. I am the ghost. She is the coat. I am Brady. She's Danielle. We are the heel marks, and we are your hosts of everybody's favorite Ring of Honor post show. That is Mark of Honor right here on the BodySlamNet network. Everybody, if you're tuning in and you see a button that says subscribe, hit that button. If you see a button that says like, hit that button. If you see a button that says comments, type in what you're thinking. Join the show. And of course, do not be scared. Go on over to slamchats.com, make a donation, support the network, join the conversation, be a part of the show. With that out of the way, Danielle, how does it feel to be back?
I'm back. I'm back, baby. I'm excited. What? You missed me last week?
You were trapped in captivity.
I was trapped in captivity in a place called Vegas.
Yeah.
That's right. That's where I was trapped in captivity.
Right. And not at press conferences, but at celebrity flag football games.
Yeah. Yeah. Shut up. I should have done that.
But here we are. We are talking about Ring of Honor.
Love Ring of Honor.
It was a fun night for the women, no?
I was thinking, I was like, normally I always criticize AEW for not having enough women's matches, and here we are, ROH filled with I think there was only like 2 or 3 men matches, and the rest were all women, and I couldn't be happier. And like great women matches.
There were, I believe, 4, possibly 5 men's matches, but it really did feel like we had women all night long.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's fantastic. I love this tournament that's going on.
Yeah, because we had 3 tag team matches and 2 singles matches in the with the men, so 5 total for men's. But we started with the women, we ended with the women. It really seemed like the whole night it was just going back and forth. Big night for the women that we began the ROH Women's Television Title Tournament, and we got a lot of those matches. I have criticisms, but at the same time, I mean, it just, to me, the matchups, most of them, some are intriguing where you're kind of like, ooh, this is a fun one. I wonder who's gonna win. But then some of them are like the same type of matches we've been seeing, where it's like a woman they're featuring, a woman who's been cutting promos, winning matches, and talking about being TV champion, and then a woman we haven't seen on the show, if at all, a kind of jobber, esque, and it's kind of like, why are jobbers in this tournament? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my only criticism, but I don't know if you caught it when they said it. The first round is 16 matches.
Yeah. I noticed that. I was like, this is a lot.
I don't know if my math is correct, but I believe that brings us to a total of 31, if not 32 total matches at the end of the tournament, if I'm doing that correctly.
I don't math, so I'm just gonna trust you on that.
That's just a lot of matches. And so I think because of that formula, we're going to be getting a lot of this, where and it's a trend, and we'll talk about it as we get into it. Let's start with what you think was your favorite of the women's.
Ooh, what's my favorite?
Yeah, because like I said, let's get into the TV title tournament. It was dominating the show, but which match was your favorite of the ones we saw?
I mean, should Danielle be biased and say Mercedes Martinez because I love her so very much?
Let's start with Mercedes Martinez. Let's be biased.
Let's start with that. So going into this match, I was like, Trish Adora is winning. That was my first reaction.
Okay, so first off, I just want to point out the irony, because our heel marks Instagram fans 100%, and this is like never happened, 100% said Mercedes was winning. Not one person gave Trish a vote.
So, well, whatever. Well, they're right and I was wrong. Anyway, so at first I was like, Trish Adora is winning. I was like, I feel like I haven't seen Mercedes a lot. Trish Adora. But then they kept reminding us that Mercedes Martinez was the women's ROH champion. And I was like, oh, Mercedes 100%.
It's what I was saying. It's because in your indie fan mind, you're used to going to a show, seeing Trish Adora, and knowing she's about to whip someone's ass.
Right. And like infantry, and there's like a storyline there. So I was like, okay, it makes sense.
Well, see, there was that also. Like, so if the infantry came out with her to, at the very least,
Fair.
like walk her down the ramp, or even I would have liked her to do it with the infantry's match, or if they were together for the backstage interview segment. But once again, it's a thing where like they're having them together, but they just keep separating them. And so I think having the infantry at ringside would have kind of made it so that maybe I did think Trish was winning. But as you pointed out, the commentary was really putting Mercedes over as a former champion, as a big Ring of Honor presence, as a huge name in this tournament. At the same time, a part of me did kind of think Mercedes Martinez is a perfect person to have in this tournament, but then put someone over. I didn't necessarily think it was going to happen in first round, so I did kind of have Mercedes pegged from the get. Also, like I said, Trish Adora has been losing most of her matches coming into this. So while Trish Adora is a featured talent, and they easily could have slotted her against a jobber, a jobber-ish woman that like others that we've seen and we will talk about, but instead they put her up against Mercedes. I'm just kind of like, okay, they're going to give Mercedes a dominant win. To be honest, I'm kind of thinking, and part of this is the match, part of this is Mercedes, part of this is commentary, but it does seem like she might make it to the finals simply because of her history with Ring of Honor, and it would just make it the final boss for whoever does become our first ever TV Women's Champion.
Right. I could definitely see her being dominant throughout this entire tournament because she has that history of being the ROH Women's Champion. Speaking of commentating, Caprice, is that, I always forget his name. Caprice
Coleman, yeah.
He seemed really sad this episode.
Did he?
Like the first match, he was like hype and saying his weird things that I normally don't like, but then he was just very quiet and tame and not saying fun things and being annoying, but like not annoying. Like, I don't know. He seemed off. It was very weird because I was used to him. He was talking very monotone like this, and he was just like,
interesting. I didn't notice.
Mercedes. Well, I picked it up because he always annoys me when he talks. So I picked it up right away, and I was like, is something wrong with him? Like he seemed like almost like he was listening to me 2 weeks ago, or someone yelled at him. It was just a very weird thing because he wasn't being loud with his quips and like saying certain things.
You know what it is? Riccaboni is almost starting to out Caprice. I don't know if you caught it, but I don't know if you caught it, but we got a Run DMC quote.
Yes,
from Riccaboni. So and Caprice, I remember Caprice kind of marking out for that. But yeah, those are the things that I used to notice Caprice doing more, and Riccaboni starting to bring it out. So maybe Caprice is shutting down. I don't know. I didn't notice that, but I might have to go back.
Yeah, I picked up on it really hard. I was like, this is interesting. I was like, is he okay? I was like, does Goldfish die?
I hope not. I hope not. I would, as I said, I would love to see Mercedes in the finals. The only thing that kind of has me saying, well, maybe that won't happen, is because we haven't seen her in Ring of Honor. So
yeah,
we didn't see her talk about the TV championship. We haven't seen her get built up. She kind of just shows up, and it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute, the boss bitch is back. So while she does have a big presence in this tournament, as I mentioned, first round is 16 matches. We've got a lot of tournament to go. So I kind of feel like whoever she loses to might end up being the champion, whether it is in the finals or whether it's approaching the finals. Let's talk about, I mentioned how we started with this tournament. We opened up with Queen Aminata defeating J-Rod. Now, this match was interesting for me only because, like, once again, as I said, you look at, it's like Queen Aminata versus J-Rod. We haven't seen J-Rod other than, like, I think they mentioned AEW Dark was the last time that they had her on. So, like, I'm familiar with J-Rod, and I actually
kind of just want to be like, who's J-Rod?
No, I mean,
we're familiar, yeah.
Right. Because I'm familiar with her and I actually am a fan, it was kind of like, oh, like I almost had like a mini mark out moment, like, oh shit, J-Rod's in this tournament. But then it's kind of like, wait a minute, J-Rod's in this tournament? Like, what?
But this is only the first round, right?
You're right. But
it's not too much, but yeah.
I mean, I wonder if they needed 16 first round matches, is what I'm saying. Like,
it's a lot.
Right. And then like Queen looked amazing, and this was a great showcase match for her. But as I said, it didn't really stand out other than the other, like from the other showcase matches we've seen. If anything, it probably took Queen a little longer in this particular showcase match solely because it was part of the tournament. You know what I mean?
I definitely understand what you mean. The Queen won me over with her backstage segment. And you're gonna know exactly why. Because she said, even though that belt is silver and I look good in gold.
I put that in my notes. I was like, Danielle like, mark out because she acknowledged that it's not gold.
She acknowledged that a belt is not gold.
But that silver is gonna look good.
I popped so hard. I was like, oh my God. I was like, yes, because everyone's like, we're gonna be draped in gold. And I'm like, but the championship's not gold. She won me over just on that alone because she acknowledged the fact that it's silver and not gold. Even though she looks great in gold, she'll look good in silver too, and that won me over completely.
She did acknowledge that. And it was fun to see. It was fun to see a post-match promo from her as well. We don't really get them all the time from just wrestlers in general in Ring of Honor. Like sometimes they pepper them in, and we did get a few tonight, but it's not always a regular occurrence. And with ROH, where it's like I think at one point it used to be a 2-hour program, but we were talking before we went live. It's basically like an hour and a half now.
Yeah, like, it ended at I think like 8:36 or something.
Yeah,
because I looked down and I was like, oh. I was like,
I didn't even know that was the main event. Like, I don't know if they said it and I just missed it.
They did. They did say it was the main event.
Okay. I had no clue.
Well, he said it was the main event. I was like, are there two main events? Because you know how sometimes wrestling says this is the main event, but it's not the main event. So I thought that. And then when it, you know, with the ROH app, it loops to refresh. And then all of a sudden Queen Aminata came out again. And I was like, oh, it's over. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's one of those things also where it's kind of like J-Rod gets in the tournament. And so Queen Aminata goes against an essential unknown. But, and I kind of predicted this last week while saying I hoped it didn't happen in the first round. But sure enough, Layla Hirsch and Rachel Ellerling have to face each other in the first round. And so it's kind of like, who's making these matchups? Like,
the first round was weird.
Right.
It was weird for them to be like first match. You would want to build story.
And they have been in weeks leading up to the tournament where they've been heavily hinting and foreshadowing that we were going to see them face in the tournament. I don't know why they had to rush it into the first round instead of just setting up the brackets and being, oh, look, we're on the same side. If I beat her and you beat her, looks like it's me and you. And you know what I mean? Like that would have been the way to do it.
And the buildup of them being in each other's corner the whole time until they can't be in each other's corner. That's a story worth telling.
But you know what? Tournament. That's a fun story for a tournament where then the tournament ends and we just get them continuing on their merry way. However, in the post-match interview after Layla and Rachel's match, where Rachel is talking about being hurt and Layla, like that back and forth and the whole Rachel injury thing, it kind of makes me wonder if this is leading on Rachel turning on Layla. And in reality, they didn't want to tell that story. They want to tell this story of Rachel getting hurt versus Layla and then eventually just snapping and taking Layla out of the tournament the same way she took her out.
The arm hurting and the doctor coming out was a little weird. It was a little cheesy and awkward. I get where they were going, and I liked after when she got back in the ring and like she pushed Layla. Like I like that, but the whole like pausing it and him looking at her arm, like that was just weird.
Yeah, on one hand, I don't like when they do storyline like work shoot injuries type of thing where we're like, I don't like the fake X. I don't like the trainer and coach coming in and everyone looking awkwardly. Like, I don't like it when commentary gets solemn and we're supposed to actually think we saw a real injury.
Right. I don't like that.
It happens way too many. We've seen it so many times. Like, it shouldn't be done like that. With that said, I did think the fucking moment where I don't know if he actually did it or what, but when he popped her fucking elbow back in or whatever.
Yeah, that was cool.
That looked badass. And that was where they got me, where all of a sudden I'm kind of like, wait a minute, is this not actually planned? Did this really just happen? And they like went for it. And then, of course, I'm kind of like, oh, no, this is a tape show, Brady, calm your ass down. But so like that aspect of it did add something unique. I don't recall ever seeing that done like ringside of a match. And then, as you said, after the injury, then we got some great storytelling being told. My only thing is I didn't really I would have liked to see some attempts at one-armed offense from Rachel. It kind of just seemed where she was like, come on, come on, come on. And she just took a beating for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was just her resilience. And it's kind of like, okay, she can kick out of this, but she's not she's defenseless. So, you know what I mean? So I would have liked to see just a little bit more fire. I'm curious as to if there's any aspect of truth, like if there is an actual injury that happened prior to the match, and that's why they made it first round, and that's why they did something like this. I don't think so. I think it's a 100% storyline, and it's just going to lead to Rachel turning on Layla. But I did wonder that as the match.
Yeah, I thought that at first. I thought that a little bit too, but then I was like, this seems too weird. I think they were just trying to get, they didn't want to turn. Like you said, they didn't want that being the story told that it was a turn. They just wanted oh, she's hurt, so obviously she's losing this way, instead of getting a beat down from her friend.
Right. Speaking of a story being told, Danielle, are we having another story being told in Ring of Honor? Is it possible that and we saw hints of it tonight where the Outrunners had their match against Lights Camera Faction, and earlier,
what a great name,
amazing name. But earlier,
such a great name. I was like, this is a fantastic name. I want to say it all the time.
Well, Infantry were facing Midnight Heat, and I also like Midnight Heat's name.
Yeah.
I also think Midnight Heat and the Outrunners should create a stable. They wear the same colors. They're both throwbacks. I just want to see them together.
Yeah, they can be the throwback tag team throwdowns.
Working title. Working title. But if when you're watching this, you see the Infantry win with their finisher, and then the Outrunners win with the Infantry's finisher. And then, we get Lee Moriarty just out of nowhere, just popping up to be the
he's just like, hey guys.
And it's so funny when he interrupted the Infantry, and I love the Infantry on the mic. They're getting more comfortable. They're getting better. Carly Bravo continues to stand out. So I like their chemistry on the mic together. But at first when Lee popped up, I thought, because last week STP was talking about recruiting. And in fact, Danielle, I was talking about, since I said this on the show last week, and hopefully with your approval, we'll make this change tonight. But since Kyle Fletcher has decided he's never fucking coming to Ring of Honor again, there's no point in us guessing who's going to face him. No one can face him if he doesn't show up. We should be guessing who will join Shane Taylor Promotions, since they kind of hinted that. And so when Lee popped up, I kind of thought, oh, he's recruiting them. But then he's kind of like, yo, did you see what the Outrunners did? They disrespected you, used your move. I wouldn't let that happen to me. And so and then he just smiles and walks off.
So two things. One, yes, we can do who's going to join Shane Taylor's group. We could do that.
I think my first guess last week, by the way, was AR Fox.
AR Fox is a good one. Of course you picked AR Fox.
Well, he had the show.
Yes, you can do that. My pick is going to be, I'll get to that because we're going to segue into it, but I'll get to it. And number two, I think the Outrunners did their finisher better.
Interesting, because
and he's like, I just love that he's like, we've been doing this for years.
Oh, no. The best thing was Carly Bravo. It wasn't them saying we've been doing years. It was Carly Bravo saying, I've been watching you for 37 years and you never did once.
I love when my favorite thing about stuff like that is when people give exact numbers instead of 30 years, 40. I've been watching you for 37 years.
And the idea that the math doesn't math for any of it. Because
no, of course not.
Obviously, not only, even if they had been wrestling for 37 years, Carly Bravo ain't 37. So no.
Is Carly Bravo 37? Now I'm gonna have to look it up.
Carly Bravo, there's no shot he's 37. And if he is 37, I need his skin cream. That guy looks young as fuck. I put him
How old do you think he is?
I think he's no older than 26. I'd probably put him younger. 27 tops.
Ugh, I hate looking at people.
I hate it too because you're awkward at it. You and your stubbly fingers, you probably messed it up. Your autocorrect didn't work.
Wow.
Who knows what you got on the search?
You're mean. It doesn't say how old he is.
Okay. Well, back to what we're saying. You were saying that you think the Outrunners did the move better. Who named it better? Because while the infantry are calling it the boot camp, the Outrunners are calling it the Miami Overdrive.
Miami Overdrive, I like.
Yeah, honestly, me too.
I like it.
I don't necessarily remember thinking that the Outrunners did it better. I might have to go back and watch both of the.
No, just believe me.
I might have to go back and watch it, but I do agree with you.
You can just believe me.
I do agree with you that the Miami Overdrive is a better name than the boot camp.
It definitely doesn't. It doesn't say how old he is, and it's frustrating me. But yeah, I like it better than boot camp.
Did you not just search Carly Bravo age? Like I don't.
Yeah, of course I did. And his thing comes up, but it doesn't have age. It has ring name, weight, birthplace, resides, trainer, debut, and then you scroll down, and then it gives him his early life. It doesn't have his age.
Maybe this was him actually letting us know he's 37. This was the first time he ever let the world know because he's ashamed of it. So up until today, he had scrubbed his birthday, his age. You probably can't even find his real parents' names on the Google. He probably scrubbed it all.
Man, that sounds awful. But I need to know.
But listen, I was just happy to see another story being told. I mean, we've got all the women wanting the TV championship. We've got the women's championship story, of course. And then up until now, it had only just been the Dolphin story. So now we finally get their altercation. Essentially, the Outrunners have been put on notice by the infantry. They're like, you do our move again, we're going to have problems. The Outrunners seemingly brushed it off because it's the Miami Overdrive. They've been doing it for 37 years. So we're gonna see what happens. The thing I like most about this story is that it's separated from the tag team titles. Granted, that's easy to be done since the tag team champions are nowhere to be found.
Are any of the champions on this pay-per-view besides Athena?
Well, what pay-per-view? This is just
not pay-per-view. Oh my goodness.
I hope the champions show up to their next pay-per-view, but Athena was the only champion that we saw at all. Not even in a match, but the only champion on the show at all was Athena.
Yeah. And speaking of Dalton Castle, my next pick for Shane Taylor Productions recruit.
Promotions.
Promotions. What'd I say? Production?
I was thinking of slow.
The hits. They're making the hits.
I was thinking of slow clap productions.
Right.
I am picking a person that returned after 2 years. I'm going Kenny King.
Kenny King.
I know you popped. I saw him come out and I was like, yo, Brady's so happy right now.
I popped so big. I mean, I popped big and then I realized that he was facing distraught Dalton Castle. And then I kind of was like scratching my head only because you know me, I'm a big Kenny King fan. So I want this to be a big thing. This is almost like a re-debut. We haven't seen him in Ring of Honor since Ring of Honor closed. Yeah. They hyped him as a free agent, commentary did. So I would have loved to see a nice Kenny King showcase. I would have loved to see a big win that sets it up to be like Kenny King is in the house. The KNG has arrived. Who knows what's next? As soon as I see Distraught Dalton coming out, you know it's the Dalton Castle show because he's telling a story by himself. So it's just everything outshadows. You know, he's going to overshadow whoever he's in the ring with.
Yo, you Yoda'd that so bad. You're like, commentators did.
Wait, what?
When you said that, they let us know that he hasn't been around, the commentators did.
You're hearing things.
It was very Yoda-esque. I liked it. But yeah, Dalton's which is weird that they would give him Kenny King then, because give him anybody at this point. That's not, I don't know. Especially that Kenny King is a name.
Right. I mean,
give him a jobber.
Commentary did do a good job of putting King over and talking about the past alliances he's had with Ring of Honor people, even AEW guys. So they did kind of set it up for us to kind of be, you know, looking forward to the next time we see Kenny King and wondering what's next. But in a show like Ring of Honor, where, you know, much like the AEW brand, they try to make wins and losses mean something. Everything's supposed to be setting up. If Kenny King's making a debut, he is a top free agent. You kind of want to see him win, especially when he's facing a guy like Distraught Dalton Castle, who, while he's been winning matches and kicking ass, he seemingly lost his goddamn mind.
Like, I don't know how he keeps a straight face through all of this. Like, I'd be dying laughing.
Yeah, he's a comedic genius. They gave Lexi the night off. We didn't have to see her try to keep his face.
Oh, I love her backstage segment with him. She's great.
I mean,
did you?
No, I was just going to say, Caprice even said, like, you can't face a King like this, referring to the way Dalton was kind of like growling, like, you know what I mean? And so it's just kind of like,
Dalton's
like,
wild.
what's going on?
Dalton's like that friend that like drinks too much, but he's not drunk anymore. He's just like out of his mind, and he's just like roaming around. You know what I mean?
Oh, you mean like Cody from Step by Step?
Yeah, or just like, you know.
This is exactly what I said. Fucking exactly what I said.
He's wild.
Question, did you know what Johnny TV and Taya Valkyrie were going to ask for?
I did predict. So I made a few predictions for this, or like threw a few guesses. The boys was one of the things. I think it might have been the first thing I was like, maybe Johnny TV goes for the boys. But the only thing I was like, that if they were going to do that, then Ring of Honor has been really stupid in having, and I'm pretty sure they did it like not last week, but like the week prior, having stunt boys for like no real reason, and then commentary kind of addresses it too. So it's kind of like now all of a sudden they're gonna start being like, the boys have been with him for years. This relationship can't be broken. Are they really gonna do it? Meanwhile, it's like, bro, the boys were like out, couldn't make the flight a few weeks ago, and you just replaced them with some random 7-footers. So I threw it out there as like I thought they could do it, but if they did, I thought they kind of botched it, which is kind of how I feel a little bit.
Yeah.
I also thought maybe Johnny TV might say Dalton Castle had to like work for him, you know, be his TV producer or something like that, kind of, you know, a butler type esque role. Or maybe Dalton had to let Johnny TV make him TV ready type of thing, give him a makeover, whatever. I thought there was stuff like for that. And then, of course, there was the obvious, maybe Dalton Castle has to leave ROH stipulation.
I knew they were going to ask. I think they lingered a little too bit asking the crowd if they should tell him what he wants. And I was like, you're going to say the boys. And commentators really like, step back. He was like, do they even speak English? He's been with them forever. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, right. And it's kind of like, yeah. So
it's like, obviously they speak English.
Yeah.
He said, like, you could hear as it was coming out of his mouth, he like backtracked and went like this.
Right.
And they've been with him forever.
I mean, it kind of seems like Johnny TV's going to get the boys. Like, I really did, and I said this last week, but I really did think the only stipulation that ended with Dalton Castle actually winning at least the first match, you know, this match that will be coming up, would be a Dalton Castle gets fired or leaves ROH or anything like that. And I was like, okay, they won't do that. He'll win. But anything else that kind of continues the distraught Dalton character and continues and puts a new layer to what these two are doing together, I figured that Johnny TV would win and we'd see that stipulation. So Johnny TV, I do think, is going to get the boys. I think he's going to stand on their back for like way too long. And it's going to be like, they're going to do like that thing where like, instead of him just stepping on them to get to the thing, he'll just step on them and just pose and turn around on their backs, and then they'll fall on their bellies and he'll just be still standing on them.
This makes me sad. I just want to let you know that if Johnny TV asked me to give him you, I would tell him to fuck off.
No, I appreciate that. I do. But I should
appreciate that.
No, because it was weird. Or were you clear on what it is? Because I at first thought, and this was last week, I thought that the stipulation he was creating was kind of like Dalton Castle loses and Johnny TV gets the boys. But the way it was almost presented in commentary a little bit kind of, it almost made it seem like in order for Dalton to get the match, he has to give up the boys. So
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so I'm confused. I thought the whole thing was supposed to be we get the match, but like, because so wait a minute, Dalton Castle gives up the boys just so he can fight Johnny TV.
Yeah, I thought that was it. I thought he had to give up the boys in order to get the match. Like that's the price he has to pay in order to get the match.
But see, last week I thought it was presented more as like I'll tell you the stipulation of the match. So I'm confused. Also, I think Dalton Castle like agreeing to lose the boys if he loses is one thing, but just piecing out the boys just so he can have
just to get a match.
Yeah, that's especially
because
sketchy.
Then does he get the boys back if Johnny loses to him? Does he get the boys back? No, like right?
That. So, yeah, so that seems silly because then you lose them no matter what happens. It's like even if you win, you still lost. So yeah, I hope that that's not exactly how it goes. I'm left curious though. I am left curious.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how this is going to pan out. I hope it's not just he like uses them as like a transaction just to get a match. That's so silly.
They'd be so silly. Like I said, it's got to be a stipulation. Dalton Castle loses, Johnny TV gets the boys, and then we see Dalton Castle with all types of different disguises, hiding in the background, trying to steal the boys back. Like that will be the
or like him dressing up like his friend and going to visit the boys.
That friend was amazing. That costume was so funny. Another Brady prediction. I love it too because you were like scratching your head, like who could it be? Who could it be? And I'm like,
it's clearly gonna be him. And I was like, oh yeah.
With like a fucking glasses and mustache, like it's gonna be like the stupidest disguise. I love the fact that, by the way, he didn't wear, like he wore the same outfit with the disguise, like no effort to put a different costume on. Just shows up in his gear, but with like a hipster beard. Oh, that was so funny. Maybe he'll pretend to be the boys or one of the boys.
Ooh. You know, yeah, he'll give him the boys, but it won't actually be the boys. It will just be him.
Yeah,
as one of the boys.
Speaking of the boys, we saw Lance Archer and the Righteous throw 3 boys all around the ring. This was domination. Match. And did you notice that Lance Archer was pretty fucking over?
Yes.
Like his music hit, he comes out and the fans are like going crazy for him. I had to check where this was filmed. It was in Phoenix. He's from Texas.
Oh, so I was gonna ask you. Yeah, I forgot to write down where it was from because I like to do that to like give the crowd was fun. I have to say,
the crowd made me look up because I'm like, did Lance Archer, is he hometown boy? No, they just, and I wonder what it is. If it's maybe a thing where like he's starting to get over simply because it's been forever since he's been pushed, and the fans just respect him and are kind of like, you know awesome. What? Right. No, like, and he's been good for a long time, and it's kind of just been like AEW swung and missed with him early, like during the COVID era for like repeatedly, and then we've never really gotten that started back up again. He's kind of just been doing the motions here, but if this is going to continue and the fans are going to be behind him, like let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Yeah. I love this pairing. I love him with the Righteous. I think they work perfectly together.
Me too. I think it's guaranteed destruction also when you see like when they have 3 jobbers, and I love John Cruz. He's hilarious. And James Blackheart I'm familiar with from like indie stuff. So this was fun to see these guys, but as soon as you see that their opponents aren't making an entrance, they're already in the ring, you're like, oh, okay, these guys are getting thrown around, these guys are getting destroyed, this one's gonna be just chaos.
To me, it's also very interesting Lance Archer in real life being a very religious man and the Righteous being that kind of evangelical type of character. I thought that was a really interesting pairing.
Yeah, I think it works though.
Oh, like, it definitely works. Like, I'm pretty sure a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about pairings and I said
Abaddon, I believe we brought up Lance Archer. We had to have, because it just made sense.
Right.
That they would be that would be a good pairing.
I'll say this, and this is kind of like a common, not even complaint, but just a common criticism when watching Ring of Honor. These guys deserve a much bigger spotlight. I'm not saying
I need a story.
Yeah, right. I'm not saying it has to be on AEW. Obviously, if you're on AEW television, you're having bigger matches than if you're on Ring of Honor television. That's just the facts of life. That's the way it is. But these guys just deserve a bigger spotlight, even just letting them talk before their match.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Just to remind you who the character is, because they do so much with so little. Like we talk about, if we talked about great characters in Ring of Honor, these guys would be one of the first people we mention. We never hear from them. They never get to actually show their character other than within the 7 minutes. Yeah.
No, 100%. Like, they have character that works. I told you, like, they remind me almost of like that Bray Wyatt-esque cult kind of like thing with the evangelical like type of character. So you could work so much with it. They could be recruiting people and trying to convert people. That's why I said Abaddon, because that would be like ridiculous because she's so crazy. So it'd be fun to like see them trying to recruit people, or like fighting someone because like they're sinners and they need to be cleansed or something, you know, like there's so much to do there and they're doing nothing.
Speaking of recruiting, I'll throw my answer in. I think Shane Taylor Promotions will recruit the bounty hunter, Brian Keith.
What? You already picked someone.
No, I told you who I picked last week so that you didn't pick
fine.
him, because I made my prediction before, you know, it got you in the mix.
Oh, okay.
But so, yeah, this week my prediction is the bounty hunter, Brian Keith.
I like the bounty hunter a lot.
Me too. And he's got a character. He's got history. He's been racking up wins, but he doesn't really have a direction just yet. And I think Shane Taylor is kind of looking for people without a direction right now. You know, that's kind of what he said in that mission statement from a couple weeks ago. He's looking to take anyone who's tired of doing the same thing, tired of being told there's nothing for you. Let's do it ourselves.
Yeah, I like that prediction a lot. I think that's really great, especially with Brian Keith being so new.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I think he debuted at the pay-per-view, correct? Final Battle?
Yeah.
Yeah, so him debuting and him progressing this well, that he'd be a perfect addition to Shane Taylor.
100%. Hopefully Shane Taylor's listening, because I think we both thrown out some fantastic suggestions for him.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Shane Taylor.
Shane Taylor, we hope you're listening, and if you are, you're welcome.
You're welcome. I'm so modest, aren't I?
This is so humble. So humble.
I am.
I'm so humble. But yeah, I mean, you know who's not humble?
Who?
Diamante.
Yeah, she's
and why
not
would
humble.
she be? Because she main evented tonight and advanced into the TV title tournament. Did you think Kiera Hogan had a shot?
No.
Yeah.
I feel like Diamante's too over.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise, our Instagram followers were completely wrong on this. They thought Kiera Hogan was winning it. But I just think they haven't been paying attention, because Diamante has been showcased every week as like a front runner for this tournament. So obviously nothing was going to change. I was happy that they got the main event spot, even though, as I said, I didn't really realize it was the main event happening. But yeah, this was a good one and a good statement win for Diamante against a more established Kiera Hogan. Kiera Hogan is somebody that I easily would have liked to see advance in the first round. So she's certainly not a jobber, as my complaint was earlier.
Do they date? No, right?
Kiera Hogan and Diamante?
Date? Tasha's Steels, right?
I mean, I don't know who she dates. I think at some point I heard that maybe they were dating. Then I heard they were just friends. I don't know.
I thought it was her. Maybe it's Tasha Steele.
I mean, that's probably who you're thinking of. They were.
Oh no, she's in a relationship with Diamante.
Oh, so really?
Yeah. I was like, I know it's one of them. Yeah, on July 20th, 2019, Hogan announced that she's in a relationship with fellow professional wrestler Diamante. So she got to. That's cool.
Fun fact.
That is a fun fact. I thought it was her. I thought it was Tasha Steele. It was one of them. I knew that. That's cool that they got to face each other.
Yeah. No, that is cool.
Love that. I think that's really fucking cool.
Did you? Oh man, that's so crazy. Like, imagine how emotional it was for them going out main eventing with each other.
Right? Right? That's such like a big deal, and like getting to face, yeah, because like sometimes you don't get to face your boo thing.
But also in the main event,
main eventing,
tournament for the first ever women's TV title, which, as we've said, Diamante, she's a front runner for it. So if Diamante goes on to win, Kiera Hogan will forever be a part of that story.
It's really fantastic. I'm really liking this tournament. Like,
of all the random things you have researched while doing this show, that's my favorite for sure.
Yay! But I didn't even need to research it because I knew it.
Well, you researched it to verify.
I could confirm. I knew it was her. Because for some reason, because when you made me feel like I was doubting myself. I was like, maybe it's Tasha Steelz. I was like, no.
Well, no, because I remember I said, like, at one point somebody, probably was you, to be honest, had told me that her and Tasha were together. And I remember thinking, like, okay, well, they're a great tag team. That makes sense. But I also didn't really know it. And so, yeah, I don't know how long her and Diamante been together?
Since 2019.
Oh, shit. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Holy
Tasha
crap.
Steelz. Yeah, that's a long time.
Good for them. I do wish they did more with Kiera Hogan, though. I'll say that.
Dude, Kiera Hogan is so good. Like, I love watching her. And, like, absolutely, they should. That's why, like you said, with these weird matchups, like, these are two, they definitely deserve to main event. But, like, it's weird that these two are the first round. This kind of reminds me of the Mae Young Classic, when they had, like, two big, I can't think who it was, but they had two big wrestlers, like, face each other in the first round. And it's like, wait, these two are facing each other in the first round? So one of these people are not advancing and we're only going to see them for 1 week? It was very weird. I can't remember who it was.
I mean, we lost Rachel Elling this week, and now we're losing Kiera. We lost Trisha Dora. Of tonight, the only one we lost that we didn't even know we were going to have was J-Rod. But they did preview some matches from next week. I did not write them down, but a lot of them look fairly one-sided. For example, I believe Abaddon is facing a jobber. I think Red Velvet possibly. So I forget who's facing Robin Renegade, but somebody's facing Robin Renegade. So I think
is it Billy Starks?
I was gonna say maybe Billy Starks, who commentary talked about Billy Starks as like the front runner to win the whole thing multiple times. She wasn't even on the show. So if you're trying to take notes in terms of what commentary says and base that on base your predictions on that, Billy Starks may be a very big front runner for sure.
Oh yeah, but if I had to predict right now who's gonna win, I think it's gonna be Queen Aminata. Whew. I think she's winning.
I mean, I gotta stick with my original pick. I gotta stick with TV for the TV championship.
Okay.
It makes sense. But I do think Queen could easily take it. I think Red Velvet could take it. I think Billy could take it. And once again, I think Mercedes could easily make it to the finals because she's the perfect person for any of the names we just said to beat and really stake your claim at the first ever women's TV title. Speaking of women's championship, while Diamante and Kiera Hogan main evented the show, we seen it a few times in the middle of the show, but then a repeat occurrence of his closing with the women's championship feud. Nyla Rose and Athena, they start the night off, or not their night. They start their night off by having a brawl backstage. I didn't see anyone go through a table, but I certainly saw Nyla Rose smack Athena over the head with half a table. Maybe I missed the breakage of it.
No, it broke. You saw it break.
Okay.
I forgot where, but it did break when she hit her again.
Yeah. Okay. And so yeah, and then we saw a pretty impassioned promo from Athena. And I spoke about this last week when I was doing it solo, but I think me and you've had this all wrong. We kind of thought that Nyla Rose had turned face, but like starting from last week and then continuing to this promo, I think no. I actually think all the way back when Athena and Billy Starks had their match, and then Athena had Billy Starks like say, hug her again and say, "I just want you to be my minion." I think that was supposed to be a face turn. And then they threw Nyla Rose at Athena to cement the face turn because Nyla Rose was such a heel. But me and you love Nyla Rose, think she's hilarious, watched her squash people where the fans were just happy to see her dominate. And you are over here thinking she's a baby face.
And she's not, she's a heel.
Yeah, she's taking over this stable. She's terrorizing poor Lexi Nair. Nyla Rose has been the heel the entire time. And it was
also,
yes.
What a fantastic promo by Athena, in my opinion.
Right. Great promo. She set herself up as like the never say die hero who's gonna protect her family, protect her show, protect her division, protect.
She's like, I worked too hard for this. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really powerful.
Right, and it was in that moment. Like last week, I started thinking about it, but it was in that moment. I'm like, yep, we're dumb. Nyla Rose has not been a face. Not one time.
Yeah.
Athena's the baby face. Nyla's the heel. Though, how can Nyla be a heel when she's wearing a hat that says hat and a shirt that says shirt? The greatest combination of clothing ever.
It's almost like we are heel marks. No, but yeah, we mark out for heels. But yeah, absolutely. We're like, she's baby face. Everybody loves her. It's like, no way.
Right. No.
Hat and shirt is I feel like I completely disagree with you. I think hat and shirt is the ultimate insult to everyone, being like, this is a hat. This is a shirt. What a heel move.
Dude, that's I don't want a hat that says hat, but I definitely want a shirt that says shirt.
I like that.
And I want socks that say socks. What?
You don't want pants that say pants?
No, but I would take some shorts that say shorts.
I mean, you can make it happen. Imagine wearing a full attire that says like hat,
shirt.
I don't
want them to say it on the butt. I want them to say it on the legs.
Yeah. Like left pant leg, right pant leg.
Exactly. Oh man, that's it. Left, right. That's what it should say on the fucking pants.
I mean, obviously. Yeah.
All right. I think we just started a fashion label. I think that's.
And then when you walk on your shoes, it'll say shoe when you walk on like sand and stuff.
Right. I think we owe Nyla Rose a bit of credit because we are about to become bajillionaires with this clothing company.
She wore a hat that said hat and a shirt that said shirt.
We saw it. That's how it's humble beginnings. That's where it started from an idea. Last week we saw it start where all of a sudden, rapid fire, these women are throwing each other through tables left and right, all willy-nilly. I did predict that I thought they were setting us up for a tables match. I did not predict that it would be 2 out of 3 falls, which Nyla Rose threw into the equation at the last minute. That's what it appears to be our main event for next week. It will be Athena defending her Ring of Honor Women's Championship and, in many ways, defending her minions from Nyla Rose in a 2 out of 3 falls tables match. I don't know if I've ever seen a 2 out of 3 falls table match.
I feel like I've seen one in GCW.
Maybe the Dudleys had one, actually.
Yeah, I would say the Dudleys having one. I hope Athena comes out.
Definitely never seen a females in this.
I hope Athena comes out with her championship belt and it says belt on it.
No, if Nyla Rose wins, that's what's gonna happen.
It's gonna say belt.
She's gonna, or maybe Nyla Rose loses, but still in her mind is champion, so she just makes a belt that says belt on it.
That says belt. This is fantastic. I love this gimmick.
I think so too. I think this has got to happen. I'm looking forward to it so much more than I was.
Me
5 minutes
too.
ago.
This has been one of the better ROH shows I've watched in a long time.
Coincidence that it featured, and here's the thing: you thought it was so lopsided. You thought it was like only 2-3 matches. We still had 5 men's matches, but we had just as many women's matches.
Right.
Actually, no. I think we only had 4 women's matches, but it felt like more because we were able to get. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 women's matches, and then we had Nyla and Athena getting involved in their stuff all night long. So it actually felt like a heavy women's night. Technically, more men's matches, but this show really did the TV title tournament justice, did all the ladies justice, highlighted our main event for next week, which is about a championship, the only championship that we got to see on the show tonight.
Where's Eddie?
Who the hell knows, man?
What is he doing?
Like, why?
Where's my?
I hope he's comfortable. I really do.
Really?
Wherever he is. I hope he's resting up because
this is what I'm thinking.
Right.
I'm thinking when he went to go to get his eyebrows threaded, they thread them too thin, and now he's waiting for them to grow back before he goes on air again.
Don't leave the house unless those eyebrows are on fleek.
Those eyebrows are so on fleek. They're the most beautiful eyebrows I've ever seen in my life.
Your eyebrows are the most beautiful eyebrows.
Oh no, I suffer from early 2000s thinking I needed really tiny eyebrows. And I tweezed in the middle, and this doesn't grow back. That's why my eyebrows are so far apart, because they never grew back.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I looked surprised in 7th grade with my round, skinny eyebrows.
I used to always do this because the people's eyebrow was so popular. So I'd always do that.
I can't do the people's eyebrow. I try to do stuff like that. I can't do
it either. But I used to think I could, but I just giving it that little push, you know.
But do you think enough people can do the eyebrow to be called a people's eyebrow?
I mean, I think he did it first, so he can call it what he wanted.
Shouldn't it just be the Rock's eyebrow then?
No, but it's for the people. He's the people's champion.
So it should be the eyebrow for people.
He's giving him eyebrows. He's giving him elbows. He's giving him everything.
Wow.
And he's giving Moana too. And
I just want Nyla Rose to give me a clothing line.
I'm sure that's on the way.
Guys,
thanks so much for tuning in to another edition of Mark of Honor, everybody's favorite Ring of Honor post show. Once again, be sure to go to Slam Chats, make your donation, support the network, support BodySlam.net, follow us everywhere at the Heel Marks. Do not forget, we're not just smart marks.